Greetings all you masterminds and grinds, welcome back to another Warframe weapon showcase. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kuva Ogris, a weapon that is really powerful. I see it a decent amount, but I don't see it as much as like the Kuva Brahma, the Kuva Nucor. I'm not exactly sure why. Also, the build of this weapon that I have is going to freak some people out because, you know, it's not the meta, and if you follow this channel, I kind of say screw the meta. Anyway, so this is rolled for magnetic. Now, why did I roll it for magnetic instead of, you know, the meta like toxin or heat? Because steel path Corpus shields. When I had this weapon built for, I think it was toxin, the shields of steel path Corpus was a real big problem. You could just say, oh, just build straight up toxin, and you would kill them really quickly. It doesn't work like that. I know a lot of people say, oh, just build toxin against the Corpus, but here's the thing. They're robots, they're special units, they're Xmas units, and a few other things like that, not just typical cannon fodder. You need to hit them really hard with a lot of toxin to kill them quickly. And in the steel path, when the enemies hit you really hard, and they have a lot of health, armor, and shields. And if you're not playing a frame that's immortal, like Nezha, Inaros, Hildren, if you're not playing any of those frames that simply don't care about damage too much, it's a problem. It's a big problem. Anyway, I have Night Watch Napalm on here because it works extremely well. Now, this damage, the heat damage, it works off modded heat damage. So it's not going to make any difference if you have your Kuva Ogris maxed out in heat for the roll on it. It's not going to affect that much napalm. The modded damage does. So, anyway, this weapon does not have a whole lot of crit, but it has a fuck ton of status. So, with, you know, it has over 100% status, I could even put on Hammer Shot, and this will go even higher. Although I find Bottle Sense to just work a little bit better because of critical damage. So, yeah, it's going to be proccing all of these. Now, it does have Slash here. Kind of ignore that because it doesn't proc as much as you would think. But you see that the Blast procs magnetic quite a lot. Heat and magnetic. The enemy shields literally just get turned off. Like, they can't do anything. Also, I have a viral setup, which this is game over for Corpus. This kind of setup is 100% game over for Corpus because think about it. What is protecting their health? Shields. A lot of shields. What does viral do to health? Makes it go away. It stacks damage onto health. And the heat damage, the blast damage, anything that does damage to health is boosted by viral. It's not just slash. It is not just slash. It's any damage type that hits health. Any damage type that does damage to health, including impact. Puncture, I'm not exactly sure on that. Anyway. I have Cautious Shot on here just so when I'm using this weapon with frames that aren't Nezha, so I don't get staggered as easily. Also, here's a weird thing with this weapon. When I was using it with mag, and I got near the bubble, I would die. I think that's a bit of a glitch. I think it's a bit of a bug that should be patched out. Anyway, this is the corrosive setup. I'm also going to show the viral setup, and then I'm going to go into Mott Steel Path to show the power of magnetic against shields. So it affects a huge area, and this amount of damage that it's doing is actually quite high. Of course, it's even more when the enemies are procced with like viral. So. And it's also even more when there's Warframe buffs going around, or using mag. That counts as a Warframe buff, right? Now, let's switch over to the viral setup. And I will quickly show it against Corpus too. Okay. So switch over to the viral setup. Remember, viral's proc, its damage, its actual damage, nah, it's not that fantastic. But what it does, it's a force multiplier. And you see that the heat is doing way more damage this time. Okay, I really should just do this so I don't get annoyed by that. So, yeah, viral is obviously better when it comes to the Kuva Ogris. You don't even need to get headshots. This heat damage, by the way, it's the napalm. It's only heat. It doesn't proc viral. It doesn't proc magnetic. As much as I would want it to, it won't. It would be kind of neat if it did proc magnetic, or whatever damage type you have on the Ogris by itself, but that'd be kind of OP. But no, it only procs heat. Now, time to set the enemies up. Time to set up the Corpus. So for this, I'm just going to bring out, like, I don't know, Xmas units or something, and then I'm going to go into the Steel Path on Mott. So these guys have a decent amount of health and shields, but nothing compared to Steel Path. And of course, it's against Corpus. They get absolutely deleted. You're not going to see it here, but this damage is actually quite large against Steel Path enemies. Now, when I made this Ogris, when I rolled the Ogris to magnetic, when I was hunting my Lich, I was thinking in my head, well, if I delete the enemy shields in an instant because of the magnetic proc, and keep their shields down because of the magnetic proc and this heat, the shields are just, they're nullified, and I'm exactly correct. So I'm going to be bringing my Panzer Philo with me, and to Mott Steel Path Survival we go. Now I'm going to be swarmed by an enormous amount of shielded enemies and non-shielded enemies. And yeah, you see it just deletes. And also because of all this napalm, they're crowd controlled, and so that's an added bonus. So I literally just shoot into a crowd. But even though I'm hitting magnetic, you notice something. The shielded enemies are actually tougher than the Grineer. The Corpus are actually tougher than the Grineer. This is true even in non-Mott, in just, you know, normal, well, quote-unquote normal Steel Path. Not in the Void. I know that sounds crazy to think about because, oh, armor. But no. You gotta remember, the enemies have shield gating too. They have damage reduction. So, all Corpus now have damage reduction, including Corrupted. So, and of course, I'm playing Nezha, so I can just waltz through these guys no problem, and I can also keep them on fire with my 1. And also my Panzer is proccing viral on them. Also, don't really worry about ammo with the Kuva Ogris. Even though it uses sniper ammo, with a magazine of only 3 per mag, 3 shots per mag, it's not like you're gonna run out of ammo too easily. Although, I guess it's still possible. But yeah, you see once their shields get taken away, the amount of heat damage plus the viral. Because viral is going to be making all the heat even stronger. They just get evaporated. So for all those people out there say that magnetic is trash, that it's the worst, that you should only build heat, viral, and maybe corrosive, keep a more open mind. I seriously hate it when people are like, "Oh, you build these weapons this way." No. Never, ever follow the dumbass meta in any sort of game, because you're not going to have fun, and if you go off meta, you might actually find something really freaking neat. Like this combination, for example. And if I was using Toxin, I would not be killing these enemies any faster. Trust me. Even if I was using a Ribbon with Toxin damage on it, with max as much Toxin as I possibly could, I would not be killing these enemies as quickly. Maybe the ones procced with Viral would die pretty quick, but... Okay, I need to... But anyway.
A dish of support has arrived.
I think y'all understand. I think y'all get it at this point. So... That's the Kuva Ogris. It's a very, very good weapon. I would, in fact, recommend rolling it for magnetic. I know that sounds crazy, but... I mean, you saw right there it works. So this is 57.2% magnetic. If I bump that up to 60, you know what would happen? This 41 would probably literally only go to about 42 or 43. But not worth it. I don't know why some people are like, you have to have 60%. It doesn't matter. Like 40% to 60% is only like what? 5 is only what? 10 more damage? That's like barely anything. Like, it does not matter. And also, you could say, hey, why don't you have heavy caliber on the Ogris? It would make it even better. I don't have every mod in the game. Also, I don't know where I would put heavy caliber here. I guess you could say get rid of thermite rounds because you're proccing heat anyway because of Nightwatch Napalm. But Nightwatch Napalm by itself, without any mods to boost its heat damage, it's not, you know. And just having thermite rounds is more than enough. Also, use the dual stats on this weapon for fuck's sake. Do not listen to people that say, use the 90 mods on the Kuva Ogris. If you encounter any of those people, don't listen to them. This weapon does not have very much crit. But what it has is a fuck ton of status. Like, as you see, with 3 right here, even at base, it has 47% status chance. That's huge. So, if you have a Riven that gives it critical chance and status chance, that's fantastic. Because you would be critting way more often, and you would probably have about a 200% status chance, which is nuts. I hope you enjoyed this video. The Kuva Ogris is a very good weapon. So definitely give it a try if you haven't. And you know, it's honestly a lot of fun. It's the only rocket launcher we have in the game, so there's that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, in Trilby, we trust.